So how many people here have had an idea? Give me a show of hands. Just any idea. Okay, most of the room. Right? How many people have turned that into an actual invention of any sort? Okay, maybe 15%. And how many of you have gotten a patent? Maybe 8 people? Okay. And of those 8 or 10 people, how many of you actually made money? Every one of you. Okay, that's rare, but nonetheless, you know, there's a reason that very few people here, in general, have gone through the patent process and made any money with it. For one, because patents suck. Let me back up for a second because my attorneys will kill me otherwise. Disclaimer, no tokens discussed here are offered outside of the US. They're offered only to US accredited investors. None of this discussion is going to be deemed as a public offering. It's still a general solicitation. Anybody that's interested in tokens must come and speak with us directly. You can contact us here at info@loci.io. It has to go through a peer-to-peer exchange and discussion. All the good disclaimer stuff, right? The SEC is no fun. Not only do patents suck, but the SEC does too sometimes. So, sorry to regulators, but it's true. So I'm John Wise, I'm CEO at LOCI. And yeah, again, patents suck. The process is really expensive, really expensive. It's a very lengthy process, and there's very low perceived value for it. At LOCI, we've built a do-it-yourself patent searching tool, right? Not very sexy, nothing really that cool about it, but it's simple. That patent searching tool is $250 for an entire month, and you can go and do as many searches as you'd like for an invention. Now, where it does start to get a little bit sexier is that the very act of doing a search within our tool ends up granting you the same court-admissible and legal standing on a globally exclusive right to the same thing as a provisional patent. The very act of doing the search grants you global exclusivity. Okay? This is all because of the PCT and any of the guys that said they made money through patents. You guys can beat me up on the semantics and technical aspects later. We'll talk about it in depth. I've spoken with all the chief examiners and USPTO over 9 years now. We've been working on this thing. So I'm happy to talk with everybody there. But here we've got a crypto and blockchain event, and I want to discuss how the patent world really has anything to do with crypto, right? And more specifically, maybe even investment banking. Now, like I said, using this system has a globally exclusive proof of existence. Using the tool itself to discover if your invention is or isn't novel gives you a global right to exclusivity. Now, we're not creating, selling, marketing, writing, offering legal advice, any of that stuff. We're not a law firm. I'm not a patent agent. I do not help you write your patent or anything along those lines. What we do offer over crypto and blockchain is within our system, you gain an immutable blockchain designation for your invention, right? Anytime you do a search, you can actually host your invention, your idea, with the metadata around who invented it, the timestamp, and everything else on a blockchain. Now it's immutable, right? And it's globally recognized. Now on top of that, though, what you can do is within our system, within our ecosystem, you can buy and sell not patents, not products, not companies, but the right to the exclusivity, the right to file a patent on it, okay? And what that means is that we can start to fix something like this, right? All of these are currencies. Soak this in for a second, because this is ridiculous. Look at how many different currencies there are around the world. Why do we need this many? Do you think that inventions or ideas are the same value in the US as they are in Japan? Sure. The markets may be different, the currencies may be different, the fiat, the valuations, the market strategy, the customer base, all of that stuff is different. But that doesn't mean the idea is worth anything less, right? And that's where we come in. Because within LOCI, what we do is any of these ideas we put in this open source valuation metric that we've designed and released out to the world. Again, the patent guys can beat me up on technicality in a little bit. I'll discuss it with you later. But what we can do is that we can actually back any crypto with a real asset, an asset that's intellectual property. And what that means is that you can buy intellectual property or the right to an idea, and you can go in any bank, anywhere in the world, and go and borrow money against it, just like a business, or like a product, or like sales, or revenue, whatever you need to do. But now we're the bridge, right? Now we're talking about transitioning from crypto, from this fringe community, into real purchasing power, into real value, something that is substantive and really makes differences and impacts around the world. $150 billion market cap's great, and everybody in this room is really excited about it, including me, right? That's nothing compared to GDP, right? That's nothing compared to the US GDP or Japan's GDP. I mean, we're talking about one or two companies in the US, even small corporations, right? When we're really at full capacity here, when we really have legitimate assets backing our crypto or securities or other tokens or businesses, then we've got $60, $70 trillion in value, right? Now we're talking about some serious impact, and now we're talking about really unleashing and releasing the full potential and opportunity. So one of the biggest issues that I would say about all of this is not just all the different currencies, not just all the fiats, right? But within crypto, again, it's the purchasing power that's limited, right? It's not the liquidity, it's not the global aspect, it's not how fast or easy you can send it all around, right? But instead of doing something like mining the actual crypto, mining Bitcoin or EOS or whatever else, right? Why not mine ideas, inventions? We do them anyway. You drop your cell phone in the toilet, and you say, oh man, I really wish this thing was waterproof, and maybe poop-proof. But on top of that, right, we all have the ideas, whether we're in rural Africa, or we're in the middle of Ohio, or anywhere. We have the ideas, right? So why don't those people have the value out of this? And why can't they get into crypto? Why can't they get into blockchain or really get a stake in the ground? So I'm sure there are a lot of questions, and a lot of people will beat me up over the next little while, and I hope so. I look forward to it. Again, I'm John Wise. Any questions?
How do you handle the U.S. being first to file? So the system offers exclusivity. How do you handle, this kind of second pillar of each government having its own exclusivity?
Yeah, so the question was, how do you handle first to file? And then the other aspect was that, I don't know how many are aware of this, every country has their own patent database. And on top of that, every patent database has a different categorization system and different taxonomy, and 60% of them are also in different languages. So a toaster may fall under microwaves in the US and may fall under radio frequency antennas in Japan, and China as infrared emitting things. It's a mess. As far as the first to file goes, that's actually the loophole that we work within, right? Because USPTO, PCT, EPO, and all these other locations are on a first to file system, they said, okay, well, we don't just want to promote the rich getting richer, right? It's very expensive to file a patent. In the US, about an average of $17,000 to go through and file an actual patent and do some initial prior art research. It goes up from there quite a bit. But if you had a system that truly was just first to file, you'd leave a lot of the poorer people out, right? So what they did was they made a publication system. They granted the right that once anybody discusses, whether it be here or a white paper for an ICO, or building an actual product and selling it, or a provisional patent, as long as there is the ability to receive a granted patent, it's treated the same as if it is a granted patent. So it has the same exclusivity. Effectively, as soon as it's been published, that inventor now has a 12-month period to file a utility or design patent, right? They now have a 12-month period to file a non-provisional patent. That's not actually true. It's predominantly, okay, so it's predominantly in the US, but I've spoken with the EPO several times about this as well, and, well, like I said, we'll speak about the semantics around it. But yes, the US is really the largest, but that's not the only place, and I assure you. The biggest benefit of that, though, is that people can actually come up with a publication. They can come up with some stake, right, and go from there. Anybody else? Sure.
So the reason that patents are expensive to file is because the process of codifying your rights is very difficult and is very specialized, highly paid skill.
Yeah, to actually define what your claims are. Mm-hmm.
So in your system, how do you ensure the quality of the ideas being written down?
Okay, so the quality of your invention?
Yes.
Well, first of all, we don't deal with patentability, right? We're not a patent agent. We're not dealing with patents. So it's actually irrelevant to us if it's patentable. The only thing that's important to us is if it's novel. And we can deal with that through a hash map and a very...
How do you deal with a situation where you have like 100 people claiming basically the same idea,
It's a hash map.
right? And you have like a resolution?
Yes. Yes. There's quite an advanced hash map that goes into different terminologies, different structures of their keywords, of the searches, the relevant prior art that they've determined, phrasing that they've actually done, the locations of where their thing would be, the classification codes. There's about 150 other variables associated in that hash map as well, and it gets quite detailed. But again, the patentability aspect of it is not the point for us, right? It's just showing that an idea that was defined, that has a claim, a description, an abstract, existed with an immutable timestamp, right, and a user ID. Okay? Sure.
The gist of your service really, at the end of the day, you're establishing precedents, prior art precedents. So
That's it.
this is a digital service that allows you to establish the fact that your idea existed at this specific point in time.
Yep.
And if you want to litigate it in court and establish the fact that maybe you had prior or precedents on the idea, you can use this as court admissible evidence.
Sure, yes. So what we actually do is this, like I said, this is a DIY patent searching tool, right? So we actually wholesale to patent attorneys, patent agents, lawyers all over the world. And we offer the package for them to resell to their clients, right? So it's all backed by attorney-client privilege. It's locked in because they're all seeking legal advice and blah, 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 right? Because of all of that, the attorneys, the lawyers are the ones that have the entire user database. We actually don't even know who the users are. We don't have access to any of the, and I get this question all the time, so I'll just head it off here. None of us have any backdoor into any new technologies. I don't have a crystal ball. Nobody in the business has any crystal ball about it, right? This stuff accelerates it and moves at a pace that is far more than my puny human brain could handle. But the point is to be able to have some legal precedent, show when something was discovered. There's a web form that each of the lawyers come up with that their clients will fill in. It's effectively the same rights as a provisional because it's written as if it's a provisional. So, okay. All right, I think.
Are you making it public? Are you publishing the search and the idea?
There's an opt-in or an opt-out, right? And that's part of that attorney-client privilege aspect. Anybody that chooses to opt out of the blockchain absolutely is strictly confidential. We have none of that data. We would not publish a single thing about it, right? There is a single dot that has no text, no title, no abstract or claims. There's no information leaked, just showing that there's an existence at an equidistant point of the CPC classifications. If that user or inventor wants to opt in, then yes, we'll make it public.
But they only get the timestamp if they actually made it public.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Thank you.